hard to believe my eyes here. It looks as though the Equinox EV has actually possibly hit real production. There is huge numbers of them that have been produced apparently in Mexico. I'm not talking pre-production numbers. I mean, it looks like it's production ready. We're talking just over 100 vehicles. And if this is true, the Equinox EV could be on sale within a matter of weeks in the US. The day after Mary Barra revealed the fact that General Motors, she says, can't make a profit selling EVs from $30,000 to $40,000 until 2030 at the earliest, General Motors revealed the new $30,000 Equinox EV, which I must say looks amazing. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Sam Evans. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has supported us. Recently, there's been a few people donate to the GoFundMe campaign. And it's just want to say a big thank you to all of you. And also to our Patreon supporters, YouTube members, and just everyone for supporting the channel. And really, it's not just about this. I feel like the more EVs we can get on the roads, the more we promote renewable energy, the less people that actually get cancer, because it's definitely a contributor. The Health Organization says it contributes to millions of cancer deaths every year. Could be the driving cause, potentially. You don't actually know what triggers your cancer to be set off. Speaking of EVs, the Equinox EV looks amazing. I think it might be the best looking General Motors vehicle I've ever seen. Now, GM, I feel like they've made some really ugly cars over the past 10 years. They've made a few good looking cars, but more ugly ones. I don't know why, but yeah, I mean, I feel like Ford makes quite a few good looking cars. For me, the F-150 it's a good looking car. For me, there's quite a few Ford vehicles that I think just, I don't know, they work. There's some ugly ones too, but I don't know. I mean, GM styling, for me, it doesn't usually work for me. That said, this new electric car is actually really cool. I mean, it looks polished. It looks like, it almost doesn't look like an EV, but it looks like an EV, but it doesn't, and I'm really impressed by it. I am disappointed though, because Mary Barra disclosing the fact that GM can't make a profit of $30,000 to $40,000 electric cars until 2030 at the earliest means, yeah, there's going to be probably what do you think, 100,000 more people put an order in for the $30,000 version because they know they're going to get one for $22,500, seeing as most people will qualify for the tax incentives. Plus, many people will get the extra incentives, like the extra incentive in the California right now, $7,500. Same thing in Colorado. I mean, you're going to get an EV at a ridiculous price. You'd have to be insane to buy a gas-powered vehicle unless there was some particular use case that you really needed one. Otherwise, you'd have to be absolutely out of your mind crazy. Now, I think that's a good message to share with your friends. Say to them, well, have you looked at the incentives that you're going to get, right? Look at the prices now of EVs, say the Model 3 or the Model Y, add up the incentives, and then say, what are you thinking if you're buying a gasoline-powered vehicle? Now, yeah, there's some use cases where, say, for example, a heavy-duty pickup truck, there's no current EVs, none. As in, you don't have any choice. The F-150, to be fair, it's more of a lifestyle truck. It doesn't have a big bed. It's not really, it's got a 5.5 foot bed. What are you going to put in there for a lot of commercial guys, guys who are really doing big work with them? That's not the right vehicle. It doesn't have enough range for those kind of guys either. So there's use cases like that where you can see why people wouldn't buy an EV at the moment. But for most use cases, an EV right now at the current prices with the incentives as well is just simply a no-brainer. That would be the case for the Equinox, but I just don't think General Motors is going to make very many of them because they've just admitted that they can't, because if they do make a lot of them, they're just going to lose what? Hundreds of millions of dollars. That's how it's going to play out. The same thing that happened to Ford. So Ford basically have admitted they're losing $20,000 per car. So what do? Is it really a coincidence that Ford said, oh, we're struggling with production this year. That's the reason why we sold hardly any EV. Barely any Ford EVs have been sold this year. The number is so small. It's like 2% of their production. It's ridiculous. Is that just a strange coincidence that Ford revealed they made a loss over the previous quarter in total, right? Ford's current price to earnings on their stock is what? The highest it's been in history. It is actually the highest it's been in history. Price to earnings is 17. That means it's the second highest priced stock based on price to earnings in the automotive industry in the world, second only to Tesla. In fact, that means it's worth more than 3 times what General Motors is worth based on its price to earnings, because it lost so much money on every electric car it sold. And then what does it do? We can't produce that many EVs this month. Battery problems, we've got to fix them. Sounds a bit like Toyota, doesn't it? Either way, this new Equinox was actually seen coming off a production line apparently in Mexico, which is this is a step further than what anyone thought they would be at right now. It's been a long time coming. However, the Equinox with a starting price of $30,000 may be closer to hitting the market than what anyone actually realizes. So that means General Motors have the Hummer EV. They only build about one of those every 6 months, but anyway, you get my point. They got the Hummer, they've got the Cadillac Lyriq, they've got the Bolt and the Bolt EV. Unfortunate that they're shutting down production of those vehicles. I wish they weren't. They'll have the Equinox, then they'll have the Blazer. They'll also have the Silverado EV pretty soon. So GM should have quite a few EVs on the market pretty soon. Now, they did say they'd have 18 different models. In 2022, October 2022, they said 18 different models. They kept on saying that until about a year ago. And then they just mysteriously stopped saying it. Anyway, there's a chance the production of the Equinox that was witnessed in Mexico was early trial production, or it was small batches of vehicles being produced for customers or for final testing configuration of assembly lines. The truth is, no one actually knows whether or not this is a vehicle you can buy or whether or not this is just a pre-production vehicle like a prototype. If the vehicles are part of GM's captured test fleet, they can use them as test models now and sell them later. Now, I probably wouldn't want to buy one of these first 20 or 30 models. I'd probably wait a month or two. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I'd probably wait 6 months to make sure production is sorted. The 2024 Equinox EV wasn't supposed to go into production until later this year. However, sources in Mexico are saying there is 100 copies of the Equinox and the Blazer EV coming off the line to go out for export. That's quite remarkable if that's true, and amazing news, in fact. So apparently there's 100 Equinox EVs that have come off the production line. That sounds pretty production ready to me. It sounds like, would you really make that many prototypes? I don't think you would. I think you might make 5 or 10, maybe 20 max, but not 100. Maybe they are actually being produced and getting ready for sale. If that's the case, then the 2024 Equinox EV, which has a promised range of up to 300 miles, could be on sale very soon. What do you think? Would you consider buying one of these? I would, actually, if it's $30,000. If it's 40 or more, probably not. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.